Hello everyone. I decided that I'd like individual music selection from the Marklin Dance Car, and I chose to do this using push buttons from a train control window or from individual buttons. First I need to go into edit mode, then I'll click on the dance car so we can see its functions. Just widen this out a little. Now let's explain the first row, which is all represented in red here. First, I can turn the coach lights on. I can turn on the dancers. I'll just turn those off for a moment. I can play the music. Function 4 allows me music selection to go through the 6 tunes. And this one allows me to play all 6 tunes in order, and I'll just cycle through. The next I have is a reset button for a power reset. So if your system goes down, you can get back to the default setting for your car, which in this case is Latin rock defined in the blue text. The bottom row is the individual train controller window function items, where I can do Latin rock, boogie, tango, waltz, rock and roll, and RR&Co for the 6th one. Apart from the standard F1 through F4 function buttons, all other icons on the train control window are controlled by a list command. And if I click on boogie, go to list, you'll see that it just turns on the particular push button for that operation. And this is done for all of the push buttons on the screen. Now let's look at the flagman associated to the on-off switches. Look at RR&Co. First you can see that I've given it a sensible name. It is triggered by the particular switch in the on condition. There is no condition on this flagman. And the operations, now this is where the secret lies, is that I have 5 associated macros, ×1 through ×5, which allows me to select the music in any order. And last, I need a timer begin when turning off of 1 second. This helps me making the correct selection for the macros. First, let's move the messages window close to the action, and I will play the tunes. Now you'll notice that the button is on for Latin rock. This is the default power on condition, and if I click on the button Latin rock, you'll notice in the messages window it just says dance car Latin rock and nothing happens. This is because it's already been selected but it's just not turned on. So if I now turn it on, you'll hear the music play. Now I'm going to go through each particular tune. The next one is boogie. And you'll notice here it says boogie, and then it goes up by 1. Choose the next one, which is the tango. Now I go to waltz. Rock and roll. And last in the line is RR&Co. And then I can go back to Latin rock. Now I'll just turn that sound off the moment. Now you'll notice that all these particular functions just have the dance car ×1, which means that it has to push the switches in a combination, which is 3 and 4, by 1, just to move it up 1 position. So I've demonstrated that. The secret of this is that I can select any button in any order. So let's give that a shot now. By default we're on Latin rock, so I'm just going to go straight to tango. Now you hear a little beep whilst it's making the selection. What I discovered was that the response of the dance car was fairly slow, and I had to put in a reasonable time between the switching to allow to get always the correct selection. So now let's turn on back Tango on. Now I'm going to go to rock and roll. I'll turn that on via the train window icon. Then I'll go back to boogie. And then I'll go back to the default of Latin rock. Now I think what I should do is demonstrate the power. So I'll just go up to boogie again, so you can see it's off the default. Now I'm going to turn my power off. Now I'm going to turn the power back on, and you'll notice that this icon is still on. If I turn it off and then turn it back on, it's now playing the default music. So what I'll do is I'll just hit the defaults button, and you'll now notice it's gone back to Latin rock, and if I turn it on, it should be Latin rock still. So now I'm back in sync with the operation. So I hope you like the little demonstration of the sounds. An important aspect is the dance car block must have a car associated with the block, in this case dance car. Now I'll go into edit mode, and you can see that I've called the block dance car, but all the important information is with the block editor. And here you will see that all the on flagmen for the music are in the block, the on and off for the power play all are there, and last is the power reset. This allows all commands to be sent from the train control window or from the macros out to the dance car. Now let's go and have a look at the macros. I'll do an edit macro. I'll choose dance car times 1. You notice that it's got that particular name. The operations, using function 3, it started off playing. I then allow music selection. I then turn the music playing off. Then I turn it back on, and then I also turn off the music selection option. And here I've separated the commands by a delay of 600 milliseconds. Now this changes as I have to make more and more toggling operations. And we can see that when I have a look at, say, times 5. But first let's look at the conditions. Here you'll see that I have a number of flag and on-off switch conditions, and the first one is indicating I'm at dance car Latin rock on, and I want to go to boogie, and all the other conditions are there to make it unique so that I can only move from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, and not go backwards, because this is really the secret of making these selections on the push buttons. So now let's get out of that, and we'll go to dance car 5. I'll go back to general. I've given it a certain name. The operations, you'll now notice with its 5 times, I've had to increase the delay up to 700 milliseconds, and it's effectively turning on and off the combination of F3, F4 5 times to allow me to walk through the music selection in the function decoder. The conditions are a little simpler, but again, the flag on is where I'm at, and this is where I want to be. And you'll notice here that I've also saying here that where I'm wanting to go. Now, remember I said there was a 1 second delay before turning off. As soon as I make this orally, the dance car would normally turn off, but because there's a 1 second delay, it sees this as being a true statement, and that's how it functions. So, thank you very much for watching.